Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to?
Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode where we're having a conversations of running, fitness, and then womanhood. Especially today's episode, we have a eulogy. We're gonna speak more on women's side, especially when we touch on hormones and how to train as women over 30. So it's quite specific today. But yeah, man, welcome. Today is what, 25th of January, another Sunday, early in the year. And yeah, we're looking forward to the rest of other 11 months because already we're moving with with fast forward. But yeah, man, welcome, Eulogi. How are you doing this evening?
Thank you. I'm doing really, really well. It's been what I wouldn't call like a recovery week in terms of training. So it's been a restful weekend, and yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing? You are incredible. You were telling me you ran a marathon today.
Yes, the very first one. I
Amazing.
died inside, but it was worth it. It got me
Amazing.
questioning and asking, why are people doing this to themselves? 40 kilometers is no joke, guys. It's no joke.
No
But
joke.
we'll see as the year goes if I can do another one. Because I want to celebrate my 42nd birthday later in August. So I want to do 42 because I'm turning 42. But
Amazing.
yeah, I want to train properly this time. And
Yes.
I suppose it's because I'm coming from December. I went overboard with the drinks and the nice food. But there was training. It's just that there was lots of nice foods we were having. And
Yes.
how were your December holidays?
It was good. I did a little bit of, I like making sure that I maintain my training over December, because it is hard. Like that is a big thing I'm learning as I'm getting older, that the time you put in through the year, you don't want to let that go over 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I had a very restful, relaxing, but also good food, good drinks. But then I got a few friends involved to join me in 12 days of fitness. So from the 13th of December, we had like a little spinning wheel with different amount of kilometers on it. And then every day we had to run the kilometers. And I think over 13 days, I ran 100 kilometers. And it wasn't easy. There were mornings where I thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? But yeah, I'm now grateful that I maintained that like level of exercise while still enjoying myself, on holiday and having a break and having like eating the cake, having the wine, having the bubbles, having the meat, having the bread, but yeah, making sure that I maintain my fitness. So yeah, and here we are. I don't know about you, but I find running in summer really hard. And I get that panic if I'm not out in the road, especially on long runs. If I'm not out at like 6 or 6:30, I get panic because I'm like, it's going to be hot and humid. And what am I doing? I don't know what your feelings are around that.
Yeah, it's a bit difficult. At some point, I did like running in the sun, but ever since I became a mother, it has taken a different turn. I don't know if it's my fitness levels or what, but yeah, you have to make sure it's early in the morning or later in the evening, but
Yes,
not if it's already after 6. No,
yes,
it's quite
agree.
difficult. Yeah, yes,
I want
yes.
to also say the great thing about where you live in Joburg, I'm in Cape Town for those who don't know, but in Cape Town, the sun doesn't rise as early as it does in Joburg. In summer, yes, it does. But you have more of a window. So now already at like the end of January, it really starts getting light only from like 6 a.m. onwards. So it's not, so the motivation starts wandering already because you're like, oh, it's dark outside when you wake up. And and granted, in the evenings it's now like 7 and it's still so light outside.
Light.
Yeah.
For me, I'm already using the room's light because the curtains, I still have them open, but it wasn't going to help. Already it's getting dark.
Yeah, see, we are lucky in that regard, but
next summer because of that,
yeah,
yeah.
that panic of like,
let's get on it. So I'm gonna ask you about your journey. Like if you were to take us back to the beginning, how did your first running go? And like your very first, be it was a training or it was the race day. So what made you decide today I'm going for that run? How did it start?
so I have always been very interested in exercise. I've always been quite active, especially as an adult after high school. In high school, you play sports and you have to be. But I have also gone through stages where I've gained a lot of weight, and when you are heavier, it's difficult to run. And then in 2019, I joined a gym here in Cape Town called Rock Gym, and it's a bit of like functional fitness workout. And part of the workouts were running. So it wasn't just like doing deadlifts and thrusters and that kind of stuff. You also had to run. And I remember after my second class, looking at my amount of calories I burned and heart rate, and I told myself, I'm going to have to learn to start loving to run because otherwise I'm not going to enjoy this gym. And I love the gym, the community, the exercise, but I needed to do a little bit of running. And then I slowly but surely did a little bit more of running. And then at the start of 2020, I earnestly started setting out. I don't know where I got the idea, but I really decided I want to take running far more serious. And to give you an idea of how inexperienced I was a very new runner. I think if I had run maybe 200 kilometers in a year prior to that, that would have been a lot. And I decided I want to run 2020 kilometers in that year. And then once I had made that commitment, I did the math and I go, there's no ways I could do that. But yeah, I started just earnestly putting effort into running. I started small. I started kind of measuring myself doing 1 kilometer, like doing maybe 5Ks, but pushing myself to do 1 kilometer without stopping and then resting, then continuing on and taking it step by step. And slowly through that, until March, before we got into lockdown, I built up to maybe 7 or 8 kilometers. And then, we hit lockdown and I continue with my running. I lived in an apartment block in Vredehuk in Cape Town, and I ran in my backyard. I think my neighbors all thought I was losing my mind because I was up early in the mornings running back and forth. And just to make sure I maintain some level of fitness. So, yeah. And then the interesting story a lot of people don't know is that in July of 2020, we had just come out of that, 6 to 9 a.m. period where you could exercise. So we were open to now exercise at any time. And I went running and I tripped and I fell and I broke my leg. And I had surgery that same day. They put 4 pins in. And that I thought was going to put an end to my run or my running career. I took 6 months off and then did rehab, was quite good with making sure that I do recovery well. And then at the start of 2021, I got back into running slowly but surely.
That's interesting. And then did you also change how you eat during that time? Was it for your mental clarity or both with maintaining your body or getting on your weight loss journey?
Yes. So that kind of has been an interesting journey. I really only started delving into the food and nutrition part of running, I want to say maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago. So 2024, that's when I really started focusing on it. Back then, I would wake up in the mornings. I'm a morning exerciser. I'm not big. I do try and run every now and then in the afternoon, but I run in the mornings. And I would basically run empty, like on an empty tummy. I would not feel after a run. I would just kind of, do it as I thought it would. And then over time, I just slowly but surely picked up that there were runs that I hated and I just did not enjoy, and my body felt tired. And that's through that kind of research, I discovered running fasted or running on an empty tummy is like driving a car that's got no petrol in it, and or like driving a car that's on empty, and then now you're running a car on empty, and then it's finished and you leave it empty again. And it took a long time for me to really get into the understanding the importance of fueling. My real running career and journey really started in 2023. Yeah, so maybe 3 years ago. And I joined a running club, Embark, and we do like training programs and kind of engaging with other runners and kind of seeing what they are going through and what their advice is, and hearing a little bit about their experience. I soon realized, what am I doing to my poor body that's trying to carry me? And it was also that year, 2023, that I entered my first marathon. So I'd done a few half marathons in like over 2020 to 2021. But 2023, when I seriously started training for Cape Town Marathon, that's when I truly realized, when you do longer distances, you have to put fuel into your body. And for me, it took shape over time. Like I would start maybe having a banana before runs, and then I would do gels during any time that I ran over 15 kilometers. And then over time, I slowly but surely realized the importance and how good I felt on runs when I did fuel. And then in 2024, I went to go see a nutritionist, just because I was, I'm someone that will go like, that's not my forte. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'd rather get advice from someone. And I went to go see a nutritionist, and she was very much put me on the path of, like, if you do anything over 10 kilometers, you need to have a proper breakfast before you go exercise. If you do like 40 minutes or 45 minutes of running, you have to have a banana. And then also the importance of replenishing your body after you've run. So making sure that you restore the proteins that you've taken out, the carbs that you've taken out. And that has been a really very long and interesting journey for me, just discovering that importance. I grew up in the 90s where low-rise jeans and size 0 was the way to go, and a lot of a lot of people starved themselves, and I just got to a point where I was like, no, my body, I'm putting my body through quite a lot, and it's really important to feel. And so, yeah, my nutritionist really guided me. She even also gave me a carbo loading plan, which I want to say there's method to the madness when it gets to carbo loading for race day. Sorry, I just want to take a sip of water.
No worries. I'm a bit conflicted because I started running to lose weight.
Yes.
Like after my second baby, especially in late in 2022, and then like I started buying race entries in 2023. So now, as you say that there would be races, trainings or races that or runs that you don't like, and you found out that it was because of how you're feeling. I still struggle with that, and I know
Yes.
because I do research as well, and I do find that it's important to have breakfast and then have immediately after that run, like replenish your body. But then in my mind, I'm still conflicted because I'm like, I want to lose weight. I don't want to eat all these carbs.
Yes.
They suggest
Yes.
pasta, rice, and
Yes.
you're like, no, in the morning. And in the morning, if you're not a morning person who doesn't want to eat, then
Yes.
how do you even force yourself to do that? Because like if your runs are at 4:30 with the running crew, so it means
Yes.
you have to wake up around 3 to have
Yes.
that eat before you get at the venue. It's a lot, ne? Did you
It is
have
a
any
lot.
difficulties with that? How was that for you, that
I
era?
still like you, I get it. I struggle with that too. And I think that is also a lot of it is societal conditions on women. You need to look a certain way. You need to be thin and skinny, and there's that idyllic part of that. And I still struggle with that.
Tummy.
Yes. So when I went to go see my nutritionist and she gave me an eating plan, it was a lot of food that I needed to eat. And you have this internal battle going, oh my gosh, I am, having to eat a lot of calories. Am I burning out what I'm putting in?
Yes.
And part of that has also been the last 6 months for me is really trusting my body in going, I need to feel it. And I am in this process. I still don't get it completely right, but I do. I'm trying to shift my view to go, wow, what my body is doing for me and making sure I nourish it and look at after it for what it's doing. Last year, for example, I ran almost 2,000 kilometers over 1 year. That's a lot of kilometers. And my body carried me, and I'm turning 44 in February, and I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And part of that is going, how am I fueling my body to keep going? And kind of reminding yourself that when I do go on runs and I have had like a proper breakfast and making a little bit of a sacrifice to get up slightly earlier, and I have that breakfast and I feel during my runs every 40 minutes, comparing that run to runs where I'm not, and just how my body is dragging itself, I'm really struggling with that. So yes, I totally get it. And it's an internal battle. I think I'm going to continue for the rest of my life, but at the same time, my body is really working hard to get me to run 21 kilometers, so it's a hard battle. It's really, really difficult.
So in terms of your weight currently versus with what you are tracking over the past years or over the time you've started with your nutrition plan, how has it changed, or has it changed for the better?
It-
How is it looking like? Is the progress fast enough for you? How is that?
This is such an interesting thing. I went away this weekend for a friend's 40th birthday, and I'm turning 44, as I said. And when I turned 41, I joined my running club, and I wasn't necessarily focused on what I was eating as much. And I lost lot of weight during that time. I just kind of fell off. It was the running. I was also gymming at that point. And I want to say over the last 6 months, I haven't been to the doctor, so I'm not diagnosing myself, but I can see all those female changes people talk about as you get older, your body changing, you're shifting and struggling. So I have gained maybe 3 or 4 kilos over the last 6 months, not excessively, but it's really hard to lose that. And again, it becomes a psychological battle. You go like, I'm training so hard. I'm working out 5 times a week. I'm running 3 times a week. I do twice a week. I'm doing strength training. Why am I not losing the weight? But part of that element of what I'm trying to accept at the same time is going, how far my body has carried me and how it is still carrying me, and focusing on the celebration of it and go, what I am doing when I do feel my body is respectful. I'm not a junk food eater. I don't lay into sweets and salty stuff all the time. I do treat myself because I think it's important. And yeah, and kind of going, this is outside of my control. I am nurturing and loving my body, and hopefully in turn it will feel loved and cared for and will continue with me further down the road. So yeah, it's a hard battle. And I've also just discovered this year I feel exhausted. And I know we're only at the end of January, but it is just like, wow, I can feel I'm getting older, but part of that is celebrating that my body can still do this. I can still run far. I mean, incredible. You've had 2 kids. You are turning 42 this year, and you ran your first marathon. And I think you should truly feel so incredibly proud of that. That is a major achievement. No, 100%. I think there is a TikTok trend that went wild a couple of years ago where they say only 1% of the population will ever run a marathon. It's something to be proud of. But I think like when you really sit down and think about, hey, my body, my mind even carried me through it, because it is a mind and a body part, like a, physiological thing that you finish 42 kilometers. And it is something incredible. Like, you're a mom, you've given birth, and yet, being able to also continue on, and also having small kids. I don't have kids of my own, but I can just go like, you're sleep deprived. You can't just go take a nap. So, yeah,
Thank you for those positive, encouraging words. And even the part that you are saying that you must just look back and accept that your body has carried you like for a number of years. Like we are women, we go through a lot, and every 10 years your body changes like a lot. So that's very encouraging, and thank you.
Totally. I think like we are so hard on ourselves. And I think women are even harder on ourselves than men. Because we also have the body image issues that come with it. I think I acknowledge men also struggle with it, but I think as a woman, it is just something inherently in our culture but what really shifted my mind is which is why I always tell people I have broken my leg. I've got 4 pins in my leg, and my body still carries me. And sometimes you have to look back and go, wow, look at how far I've come. And that gives you the motivation to keep going. And I also want to say, I think it is also okay if you don't want to run a marathon. I've got someone that is at my gym, and her goal is she just wants to run 10 Ks. And I go, that is incredible. 10 Ks is a long way to run,
Yeah.
and it's celebrating what your body can do for you.
Mm. Yes, yes. Now going back to the marathon, how 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 was it and how did it change you
Yes.
before you ran and then versus now that you've ran over 40 kilometers? How's that for you? And how did it change you?
Yes. So the year I signed up for my first marathon, I did a few half marathons, like races that year. Previously, I had done maybe one half marathon a year. And my saying was always, I have no desire to run more than 21 kilometers. Not interested, no.
Mm.
And then I ran a really amazing half marathon in Neisner, the Neisner half marathon in 2023. And I just had so much fun. And I really, I think I fueled properly and it was beautiful. And we came back to Cape Town, and my next long run, we ran Chapman's Peak. And I was with a friend of mine who at that point had just started her Cape Town Marathon training. And I kept saying, not for me. I do not want to run more than 21 kilometers.
Mm.
And on that long run of hers, she was meant to run. So the previous week, I ran a half marathon. And that week, she was meant to run 24 kilometers. And I said, well, I ran 21 last week. Let me join you for this long run and just see and like kind of keep you company. And I absolutely just loved the longer distance running. And there's a pressure that came off in terms of running a longer distance. Like I could stop, I could have water when I wanted to, I could stop to take
Mm.
photos, and it completely took that pressure off. And that same day, I went home and I entered Cape Town Marathon.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I've run 24 kilometers, a few more. But part of my mindset shift was really taking the competitive edge away from half marathon to really just enjoy slow running. And that's what I did. I trained from August until October that year of 2023, ran really slowly. I ran with a group of girlfriends, and we would very much, stop when we needed to stop, took the pressure off. And part of that really shifted my mindset to go, I don't need to be chasing personal bests. It is getting my body to run a longer distance. And on Cape Town Marathon Day, my friend, who we share a birthday, but literally 10 years apart, so she's 10 years younger than me,
Mm.
we agreed we were going to run the Cape Town Marathon together. We were going to keep each other accountable. We had worked out our hydration strategy, when we are going to take sips of water, when we are going to feel our bodies, and really when one person wanted to stop, we respected that. And we went out there and we just ran the race so slowly. And I had the best, most incredible time. We'll say the loop of death that everyone talks about in Cape Town Marathon is the loop of death for a reason. But when I finished that marathon, I absolutely loved it. And I felt, wow, I didn't feel like I needed to profess how fast or how slow I ran. I just felt good because I was more intuitively listening to my body. And when I needed to stop and take a walk, I stopped and took a walk. Where on a half marathon, I'm quite competitive, like I'll keep gunning.
Yeah.
And yes, so I took maybe a month off, and I was like, okay, let me just recoup, recover, get my mind right. And I entered Cape Town Marathon for 2024 again. And I want to say, because my first marathon was such a positive experience, and I took that edge off it, and I really went out to go have fun. And I knew that the minute I am not going to have fun, I need to stop, because then I'm not enjoying it and I'm going to hate myself at the end of it. And 2024, I went in with that same mindset to go, hey, I am here for fun. I'm not going to run a race. Granted, I did not have anyone to run with me that year. I did a lot of my training with a group, but my two friends that ran with me or that I trained with over 2023 was not running that year. So I had to do a lot of my training without them. But that was also the year I truly understood why it's important to feel your body and the importance of feeling once you are done, because your tank is already empty. And I was able to shave off 15 minutes off my time from the previous year. And I just, I loved it. And because I have a mindset where I'm not racing Cape Town Marathon, and not to say people shouldn't race it, if that's their prerogative and their goal, by all means do it. But for me, it was about enjoying the run, enjoying the crowd, being out there, loving the support, and seeing what your body and mind can do. I absolutely loved Cape Town Marathon 2024. I also want to say part of my big learnings around doing a marathon is making sure that you set yourself up for success. And that is making sure you are fueling correctly, hydrating correctly, but also making sure that you have a support system around you. So every year when it is Cape Town Marathon, I have a group of friends and I distribute them along the route, or they live along the route. And I tell them to bring me something to drink or to eat, and it is seeing your friends out there to support you. And it also puts your mind on, oh my word, they are going to be out there looking for me, supporting me. And yes, you should ask your friends to support you. You should demand your friends support you because you are running 22 kilometers, So yeah, it's important to surround yourself with the right people also.
Okay, so now let's also touch on the hormones, the menstrual cycle, the phases. How have you adjusted to that? Have you tried to follow, or based on where are you on your periods at that month, or
Yes.
how to train, how not to strain yourself or overtrain? Have you followed out on that?
Yes. And I
Okay.
want to say that has been a bigger journey for me over the last 6 months, because I do feel when I'm in the luteal phase or, premenstrual, your body is tired and you are exhausted and you don't feel like running. And part of that has been intuitively tuning in and also making sure I follow my cycle, knowing where I'm at. And then if I do wake up in the morning and I am in that phase and my body does not want to run, I don't force it to run, which is also something that I've had to adapt to say it is okay to rest. And it is also okay to listen to your body and respect your body and going, it's okay to not run or exercise. And just really being more intuitive with your body. And part of that is also the importance of supplements and what you feel your body afterwards, And I've started taking creatine as like a post-running, post-workout exercise. It not only helps mentally, or it helps physically, but it helps mentally. And part of that is a journey that I'm still on, as I said, to go, if I do wake up in the morning and I go, oh my word, I'm PMSing, I don't want to go run today, to go, okay, I'm not going to run, and it's hard to do that. And then, also as I'm getting older, I'm learning your body changes with hormones. I don't know if I'm in perimenopause. I don't know, like my doctor's not done any tests yet.
Mm,
But you are starting to see those shifts and changes.
mhm.
And part of that is also maybe as I'm getting older, more reflective to go, wow, my body has done a
Yes.
lot in 43 and 3/4 of it, years. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeesh. And there's no turning back. We are
No
growing.
turning back, no turning back. And
Yeah, I do sometimes catch myself thinking, I'm no longer in my 20s, hey, or even in the 30s. I need to change and take care
yes,
of my body and not strain the body. I know what you're talking about, hey.
yes. And part of that has been for me also understanding the importance of carbohydrates. I think again, it is a thing of like, carbs have gotten a very bad rap over the last couple of years. It's bad for your body. You're not gonna lose weight.
Yes.
And I've done like extensive research on the importance of your body and your muscles needing carbohydrates and that sugar to keep going. And yeah, it is also understanding and speaking to experts and reading up about what your body needs and how you best look after your body. Um,
Mhm.
and part of that, yeah, is also going like, Kissy, my body has carried me for so long. I've been running seriously as a runner for 5, 6 years. And that, I know, is a blimp in some people's careers, but a lot of that has been in the later stages of my life,
Yeah.
and respecting your body. On the
Mm.
inverse, I also want to say, and I'm not a doctor, I don't know enough about it, but I've always heard that they say it's much better for women to really start doing longer distances from 35 and up because your body and your hormones can handle it. I don't know the scientific reasons behind it.
Uh,
While they will also discourage women who've not had babies to not run ultras or whatever until you've given birth. Because yeah, I don't know enough about it, but yeah, there is that
mhm.
understanding that as you get older, your body has more stamina to also keep going.
Wow, that's interesting. I haven't heard of that. I'll try and dig up on that and please share articles or your
Yes,
findings. I haven't, yeah, really. But there is a lot of women, even in the 50s and 60s, that would say, I started running 5 years ago or maybe 10 years ago and I've never looked back. And they are quite good at long distance running. And you'd be like, yo, even at that age, and
yes,
they still have that endurance and mental strength to do long distances. It's quite amazing what our
yeah.
bodies can do. Yeah.
Yeah, the mental part of it is maybe one of the biggest reasons why I run.
Mm.
Because like even this weekend we went away for a friend's birthday. Friday evening we had some bubbles, some chocolates, we ate badly,
Yeah.
we drank. And I got up on Saturday morning to go for a run and I ran 12 kilometers. And my friend, she's more trail runner, and she came to me, she's like, I don't know how you do it. Like you just got up and you did it. And I said, that is part of building stamina. Like I did, like when I woke up, I can tell you I did not want to go for a run. The last thing I felt like I wanted to stay in bed.
Mm.
But it is also that reward, mental reward to go, this is what determination and resilience is built off, is that mental strength. And part of that is also what you need when you run a marathon or any race, because you will get to a point where your body is tired. You can feel it as much as you want. You can hydrate it as much as you want. It just is natural that your body is going to get to a point where it's tired, but that's when you also need the mind stamina to keep going. And I think that is not practiced enough by a lot of runners. I did a whole TikTok series around building your mental strength because it
Mm.
is really important especially when you want to do a marathon, because 42 kilometers is far.
It is fun. I got myself discussing with myself today, like, we need to do this. Let's just get to the finish line. It's
Yes.
quite a long distance. So now that you talk of TikTok, I had a segment here, content creation on TikTok. What made you decide to share your thoughts, your views, and your journey on an online platform?
Yes. I
Mm.
often find, like, I follow runners on TikTok and on
Mhm.
Instagram. I mean, who doesn't follow Gerdler Steyn? Who
Yeah.
there's another one, Carla Mollerino, I think that's her name. She's also a
Yes.
long distance runner. And they are really incredible and inspiring. But I also go, they have the DNA edge to their bodies. There is something in their DNA that allows them to run as fast as they can. And for me, it was really hard to find anyone that is on my level, that is relatable, who wasn't always a runner. Like, I played hockey in high school. I was not athletic by any way or means. Like, I do not have an athletic bone in my body. There's no one in my family that runs. I did not grow up in a home where my parents ran. And I really wanted to use the opportunity to inspire everyday people to go, like, these are the things I've learned, and I'm going to share it with you and create a platform where everyday advice comes from everyday person. And again, I will say I'm not an expert. If I do talk about a topic, I will make sure I do research, and I will enter saying I'm not an expert. This is what I read up about. But I think
Mm.
it is really important that as you have the Gerdler Steyns and those people who are pro athletes, that you also have ordinary people who are going through ordinary struggles. Like, I think I haven't seen anyone openly talk about the hormone fluctuation as a woman. I could never see
Yeah.
Gerdler or Carla really talking about. Not Carla, maybe, but it's going, like, these are things we struggle with every day. And also talking about very real with you, like the struggles we have. Like, we want to run to lose weight, be healthy,
Mm.
and then all these different things that come as baggage, and how you overcome that. And if you don't lose the weight quite quickly, it frustrates you.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it really is important for me to have real dialogues and talk about it as a real person that is relatable
Mm.
to what everyone else might be going through.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's quite relatable what you always the subjects that you do bring up. Um, so what kind of running content feels most authentic to you? So, but yeah, you just mentioned some of that, but yeah, maybe you
Yeah,
can tell more on that.
I love inspiring people and because I am just an ordinary person. I struggle with my weight like everyone else, struggle with mental health like everyone else.
Mhm.
I so I want to inspire people in a very real way to go, like, you can do it. Because I also was not a runner. I should send you some pictures of what I looked like in 2017. I wasn't much bigger, but I wasn't like, I was maybe 3 sizes bigger in terms of clothes. And
Mm.
how through running I was able to shed some of that, but at the same time also just really, it wasn't about the weight loss for me. It was really about the journey and the mental agility part of it. And
Mhm.
to be more relatable, I think that is really important. I want people to walk away, go, like, I can see myself doing that. Because
Yeah.
again, like, you look at someone like a Gerdler, she's great, she's amazing, and she also has a bit of a story coming from nowhere. But to run at her pace, like you have to have some DNA in you. And I think for me, it is just to make people go like, hey, I can do it too. Like, if she can do it, I can do it. And at the end of the day, I am very passionate about just people moving their bodies, because there is, again, such great things in it for your mind. And a lot of what I do is for mental health. And yeah, just move your body. It's really important. And there's such fun also in it. And then I also want to say, like, part of it is maybe also like getting people to understand the running community if you're new to it. Back in the day, I was very nervous and scared to join a running group. And when I did, I was like, why did it take me so long? And yeah, just kind of, give people a little bit of like hey, this is the direction you can go. Yeah, go this way,
Yeah. We had some comments where it was Mrs. M greeting us.
Hello.
I hope she's still online. I see someone is still online. Yeah, Sundays are a bit a hectic one. So people, they come and go. So, but carrying on content creation, what's your take on the rise of runner influencers?
I want to say running as a whole. I started running pre-COVID, very like amateurly, and I feel like there has just been an I wish I can just start with a walk. Start with a walk. I started with a walk, and we all have to start somewhere. I think running has taken off globally a lot. If I think of the first year I entered Cape Town Marathon, they were trying to get 15,000 people to enter. They didn't. Then in 2024, I think 15,000 people entered. And then in 2025, it sold out, and they had 20,000 people wanting to do the marathon. And it has just been like mind-blowing to see how many runners have come out and how many runners there are. I don't consider myself a running influencer. I think it is a very fine line between being someone who encourages people to move and giving a little bit of advice that they learn, versus someone that will tell their community, hey, this is what I do as a pro, and they're not a pro. So it is a very fine line between, influencer content, and my biggest advice to someone is, whatever you see online, chat to an expert in that field and make sure you double check the information. For example, if I had to go online and tell people, oh, you should start with like a 15-kilometer run, that to me is a red flag. And yeah, I just go like the same as all kind of influencers. I think everyone wants to be an influencer nowadays for whatever reason. But at the same time, I've made incredible community of running people, including yourself, on TikTok, by just sharing ordinary everyday stories. And yeah, it's a very difficult tight line that you have to walk between advice you take and or advice you give versus inspiring people to just move their bodies.
Yeah, yes. And then how do you stay true to yourself when trends, algorithms, and comparisons creep in?
Yes. I want to say, I don't know entirely, but I'm not big on comparing myself to anyone. I do every now and then will run, and I'm like, do I look like Gert Stain running? And then I'm humbled quite quickly when I look at my time. But that is a hard place to be in. And part of that is also a journey that I'm walking with myself in terms of trusting my body. You know, for example, there are loads of challenges, and there are people I do run with that runs a really fast speed, and you try, because it does, I don't know, if you are some kind of athlete, there must be some competitive side in you, and then you go like, if only I can run like a 5K under this amount of time.
Yes.
And it's not about necessarily comparing yourself to them. But I want to also say, for me, at the end of the day, to make sure I stay true to myself, I have to enjoy what I do. The minute I stop enjoying a run, I will stop and I will turn back. I won't finish that run because it becomes soul destroying. And sometimes it is also taking time off to go like, I've done my running for this month. I'm, going to focus on something else. And the minute it starts losing that joy and spark for you, or for me, that's when I go, I need to step away. And this is no longer me being true to myself.
Yes, okay. And then what does representation in running mean to you?
That's a big thing for me. I think we need more representation. I'm in Cape Town, and it's snowflakey white in Cape Town. We know that. And I think it is important that young people of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all culture, have someone that they can relate to and that they can see themselves in. I believe it's really important. My bigger frustration is around trail running, because the barrier of entry is so expensive, and there's a big need for me there in terms of representation. And part of also my goal is also to make sure that you give voices to people of any background, and whatever that might mean. I think it's so, so, so important that there is someone that anyone can see themselves in and go, I can relate to that, and that's why I'm so grateful for your platform, because you do give voices to people who need to be heard and who are great examples. So I'm a big believer in that.
All right. Okay. I just remembered the question that I wanted to ask in terms of your running. You said you had broken your leg and you have pins. Have you removed them?
No. So I broke my leg at 7 a.m. By 8 a.m. they did x-rays. By 2 p.m. I went into surgery. By 4 p.m. I was awake. And by 7 p.m. I was in home. So the pins will always be in my leg, and they won't ever be removed. And that is also part of a journey. I had to do a lot of physio and rehab. Again, so fascinating. Your leg, or if you do not move a muscle for 48 hours, it atrophies, meaning it loses any kind of tension, or it becomes like you haven't exercised it. So now imagine not moving a leg for 6 weeks. I had to do a lot of physio, and it's an ongoing thing. I need to, because this leg is lazy and the glute is lazy, I have to make sure I do strength training as part of it. Otherwise I get injured, or I had an injury at the start of 2025. I still ran, yes. And I ran 2 marathons post breaking my legs. So yeah.
Again, were you not scared during that your first marathon after having the operation that
I mean, I was stiff, but I did the marathon 3 years after breaking my leg. And part of
oh
that is, again, and maybe I should, it makes me think that you see a lot of runners will start running and then they'll go, okay, they want to do a half marathon in their first year. And then in their second year, they want to do a full marathon. I really took that build really slowly. So in 2021 and 2022, I did just a lot of running, 10Ks, 10Ks, 15Ks, a few half marathons. And then in 2023, I really started ramping that up. And I really want to do an ultra. And I feel like I will only be ready for an ultra in 2027 because your body also needs to adapt to doing longer distances.
yeah.
And that is my biggest advice to anyone would be build slowly. You don't need to do everything in 1 year, and another thing I read was your body goes through a lot. You'll feel it tomorrow once you wake up from um, but it is, also your body goes through a lot when it runs a marathon. And that's why they say generally people should not run more than one marathon a year if you're just like a normal average person. And I kind of take that advice very serious. Because your body, you don't want to kill your body. You've got one body, so
Yeah,
yeah.
I recently read about that as well for us normal runners that one or two is enough, but two is also pushing it
Yes.
based on
Well,
your physical level also.
yeah.
So
I mean, I always think of like pro runners. Okay, a lot of them, like I think of the long distance runners, they will do a few marathons in a year because they're training for comrades, but they won't be doing they won't be racing a lot of marathons, they'll be doing it more as longer runs. And there is that important part to be to make sure you listen to your body and you don't go from 0 to hero, because that's also when injuries happen.
yeah.
And being selective. This year, I'm being very selective. We were chatting earlier around what races am I doing this year. Generally, in a year, I will do about 10 races, and not all of them half marathons. Some are 10, some are 15. One might be a marathon. But this year, I am doing very much like being very selective about what races I'm doing and caring after my 44-year-old body.
Yeah. Yes, I get that. I just also when I was preparing for my today's race, I went through over my previous race numbers, and I was like, I've only bought one entry in 2023, the 10-kilometer one, and then the rest of the years it has been 21s, and I'm like, why don't I
Oh,
do the 10s again? I need to go
yes,
back to it.
yes,
And I think it also stems from the fact that when you train, you usually train with 10, 12, or 15, and then maybe it's 18. So
yes,
to me, like those are training distances. It's either by 20. So, but now that you mentioned that you are selective with races and
yes,
number of them, I think I should go back to also the 10s because I was like,
yeah,
I feel like I'm improving on the 10s, but I always see that improvements on training days. So how about
yeah,
I just go back and buy an entry of
yeah.
10 kilometer? It
I
won't
did a
kill me.
10K in December and I loved it,
Mm.
and it just was, I did the Robben Island 10K, and yeah, I just absolutely loved it. And there is definitely that time and space for that. I also want to say I get that, like, once you get into the rhythm of training for marathons, you get so used to going like, oh, I need to run 25 kilometers for a training run. Um,
Mm.
And it is so even for me, like I'll sit here and sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and be like, I'm not going to get out of bed for just 12 kilometers. What is the
Yeah.
point?
Mm,
But yeah, there is such a, understanding and kindness to yourself to be like, hey, I'm going to do a 10K and I'm going to have fun doing it.
yeah, yes. And then what do you think about the social media pressure around the running community of saying that if you haven't done a marathon, you're not a runner? And then when you do it, you then hear people say, if you haven't done a Comrades marathon, you're not a South African. Like, there's always
Yes.
levels.
I want to say I did a TikTok a while ago where I was like, you don't need to run any distance or at any pace to be considered a runner. If you run and you can run 800 meters or a kilometer, and if you run that at 10 minutes a kilometer, you are a runner. And there is such pressure. There was also this trend on TikTok where people would post their distance and what speed they run on, like the Strava. And I find it puts unnecessary pressure on people and unnecessary, focus on, it takes the joy out of running. And I don't care what anyone says. If I run a 42 kilometer and I run it in 7 hours, I've run 42 kilometers, and actually you run it, you are on your legs for much longer than someone like that runs it faster. So you should get more kudos for that. And
Yeah.
I just wish there was this element of competitiveness that would stop.
Mm.
But at the same time, I want to say I have done a number of races with like my running group. No one has ever asked me how far, or like when I do like a 10K or half marathon or marathon, no one will ask me how fast did you run it. There's this acknowledgement of going, oh my word, you did it. Like that is incredible and congratulations.
Mm.
And yeah, for me, it comes back down to acknowledging what your body goes through and acknowledging what other people go through. I've got a friend who had leukemia at the end of 2024 to the beginning of 2025, and he's now getting back to running. And it's completely shifted his perspective to go what his body went through to what his body can do for him now. So, yeah, I would say ignore those people who say you're not a runner. You're a runner.
Yeah, yes. And then we've come to an end. We are well over an hour. Hey, let me not keep you
Yes.
longer. It didn't feel like an hour.
No,
I
it
thought I was
didn't. I love this.
struggle after the run in the morning. But no, man, this was like fruitful. Thank
Lovely.
you for
Yes.
being with us.
Thank you
But
for
before I
having me.
let you go, I have another request. So before last week or the previous episode, I would ask a guest to leave a question for our next guest, a random question. So for you, they had left 3 questions. They are similar, but you have to hear all 3 of them. Like,
Okay.
what is your world view? What shapes your world view? And then how can you improve that worldview for the betterment of society?
Amazing. Wow, that's a deep question. I am very much about empathy. And everyone in this world has a belonging and a voice, and everyone's important.
Yes.
But just because we are slightly different in race or age or culture or background doesn't diminish or overextend your importance. We are really all very, very important, and we all have a voice, and we should all care and love one another. And that is very much my worldview. And part of, as a white person in South Africa, for me, it's really important for us to understand where we come from as a country in the past and making sure that we move forward constructively And part of that is giving scope and understanding to where everyone comes from and giving everyone a place and a space to shine and stand out. And the way I believe you can extend that is exposing yourself to different people, to different cultures, to different books. I'm very much focused on a growth mindset. I always challenge myself to make sure I am expanding my world horizon, you know. So yeah, I just want to say, like, the world's not this small, it's big, and there are lots of different people and they all deserve to be celebrated.
Yes. All right. Thank you for that. And then would you kindly please also leave a question for our next guest on the next episode? Any question?
Ooh. Okay, let me think about that. Sheesh, you are asking me putting me on the spot here. What is the one person or one quote or thing that completely shifted the way you see the world? Like, one thing that completely shifted the way you see the world, and how are you enforcing that to help shape other people's views of the world?
Okay. Thank you. I'll make note of that.
Amazing.
This
Thank
was
you. This was so much fun.
This was great. Yeah. And then we have Mrs. M here saying she was late, but she enjoyed the live stream. She's
Amazing. Thank you so
considering
much for joining. And
walking.
start with a walk. You know, start with 1 minute of walking. Then let's stay. Yes, exactly. Start off small.
Yeah, yes. And then, okay, good night. And then have a productive week. I hope to see you on the streets.
Go soak your legs. Go lie in Epsom salt and drink water. And good luck for tomorrow. And congratulations again. You should be very, very chuffed with yourself.
Thank you. I was actually a bit unhappy with saying that I almost completed at 7 hours, but I was like, I was running, I was using my legs. I did finish.
No, you
and
did.
I went there to learn. I wasn't going there to go to the podium. No.
That I just want to say it's an amazing feat to run for 42.2 kilometers is incredible, and to do it in that time is even more amazing, because to keep your body moving for 7 hours, it's a lot, you know. So keep your head held high. You did amazing. I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm incredibly proud of anyone who runs any distance, but 42, like, incredible. And then you are still so shiny and bright here today. I would have been passed out.
Yeah, I took some rest around lunchtime until late. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, man. Good night.
Thank you so much.
This was great. Thank you.
It was lovely meeting you all, and I'll see you soon.
All right. Yeah, good night, guys. Thank you for joining the live. Ciao, bye.
Sometimes it don't make no sense. Does it really have to?